Welcome to the War on Wellness. I am Penny, also known as Plant Based Penny, and I'm here every Wednesday. Tonight, I'm excited about tonight's topic. We're going to be addressing three foods that may be blocking your wellness. Three foods, and I have the alternatives, the healthy alternatives and options for you. So I know that Facebook is gathering people on my page, my Plant Based Penny page, my personal page, and my group. Hey to everybody in the group. If you're in the group, say hey. And I'm looking forward to the topic tonight because it's really going to help some of you kind of get over that hump of the wellness struggle that we might be going through and just helping you move from problems to progress. And so, first, let me share with you my intro video. Shows a little bit about me and how I came to be where I am and talks and shows you some of the scenes from my travels abroad in three continents and seven countries. Thank you. Welcome back to the War on Wellness. I am Penny, your host, and I'm happy to be with you today. So, I want to welcome into the room all those who are joining. So, thank you to Tamika, to Corey, thank you to Linda. Hey, Tanya. Yes, we are all here because we want to be empowered because there is a war against our wellness. So thank you so much for joining. So, as I mentioned, I am going to three, share with you three foods that are blocking your wellness journey. So they're blocking your wellness journey, or they may be foods that are just preventing you from getting over that hump. Hey, Dolores, how are you? Good to see you. And I want you to be armed with the food education and the knowledge so that you know what it is that you need to avoid and what the options are. So a lot of times people will tell you, well, don't do this, don't do that, don't do the other, but then you don't know what to do. So it's helpful to know what it is that we should be doing. Okay. And so that's what today's broadcast is all about. So, hello to everyone over on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, put a Y in the comments. If you're watching on Facebook, put an F in the comments, no matter which page you're on. We are just so happy to have you here at Plant Based Penny Life. Okay, so we're ready for a Power Pack episode. The three foods that might be holding us back, and we're going to talk about the health risk associated with those. And I'm also going to share the healthier alternatives. So if you're ready, put ready in the chat, okay? Put ready in the chat. Now, fabulous family. Um, for those of you who may not know, I am Plant Based Penny and I help people move from problems to progress with plant based solutions. And today we're looking forward to the game changing information. So I'm back on US soil from my global adventures. I was just out of the country. Let's see, this time I was out of the country for in October. So that was from this broadcast date, that's an hour. That's a month, about a month and a half. I've been back in the United States. And so I've learned a lot from my travels and I look forward to sharing it all the time. We're going to be confronting 3 foods today that might be slyly sabotaging our health. But no worries, I got your back. I got your back with some alternatives to those foods. So let's just get into it, okay? The very first one is the sugar trap. Yes, yes, yes. I know. I know. Now, tell me in the comments, do you have a sweet tooth or a salty tooth? Which one are you? Put sweet or put salty in the chat. Let me know which one is your your nemesis. I know for me, I know it used to be a sweet tooth for me. It used to be that I was just, I mean, I would get the M&Ms, the M&M peanut. I like the peanut better. Or it would be Snickers bars. I mean, the sugar trap. That was me. I was the sugar trapped individual. So I'm calling out the enemy, the sugar trap. And so first up, let's talk about the sugar trap, okay? The sugary, and we might think that it's like candies, cakes, pies, all those things we see around the holidays, but I'm talking about the sugary sodas because you may have sweet potato pie, which I made one today, by the way. You may have sweet potato pie, and that is usually like in the fall in the United States. That's in the fall or in the holidays, but all year long we are drinking the sugary sodas and the candies, and it may seem innocent. I'll just get a little bit, little small minis. I'll just keep some in my purse. That's sabotaging our wellness and it's wreaking havoc on our health. So I want to introduce an alternative. So an alternative is to swap out the sodas for maybe sparkling water or real fruit juice. Now, we have to be careful because the real fruit juice on the front of the front of the bottle that you buy, it might say, you know, grape or apple or whatever it might say, but you have to turn it over on the back and read the labels to see whether or not it is actually what it says it is, because sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes they lie. They lie. The labels lie, I'm telling you. Okay, very good. Dolores says she's a sweet tooth. Yes, a sweet tooth person. Trust me, I've been there, Dolores. I understand what you're saying. I see Tamiki is saying salty as well. And let's see, who else we got here? We have Linda and Corey. Linda's a salty and Corey's a salty. Okay, well then. That's fine. That is just fine. There are all kinds of what do they call them? Cravings that we have. And so whatever it is, this is the alternative. Find another option. So you swap out the colas for something else to drink. If you're craving sweets, then grab a handful of fresh berries or other fruit, sweet fruits, and they can be nature's candy without the guilt. Now, let me tell you, since I was there, it took it took consistency in order for the change to happen. And I was also a salty tooth person at one point. Not a salty person. I'm not saying I'm salty. I was craving salty, and what I had to do is I realized that I was actually craving crunchy. So I liked, you know, to crunch on the chips and crunch on the popcorn. And so I had to go to the lower salt crackers when I was eating the crackers, and I actually started popping my own popcorn and adding the salt, less salt than was in the store. And so we have to find these alternatives. And I have the dehydrated apple chips that I've started eating, and so it gives me that crunch, but it doesn't have the added sugar and it doesn't have the added salt either. So experiment, find out what works for you, and when you do, stay consistent with it. Okay, nature's candy without the guilt. So why? I mean, what's the health risk if I have my snickerdoodles or my Mars bar or almond joy or whatever it might be, the cakes and the pies, what's the harm in it? Well, okay, now I will eat dessert. Now I will eat dessert, but the thing is I stay on my plan. I stay on my plan like every day during the week. And then maybe on the weekend I might have something different. Now I'm not gonna have the whole pie, okay? That's different. You don't eat the whole pint of ice cream. No. But I might have a sweet treat, such as a piece of brownie or something, or a slice of pie at a different point. But I have stayed on plan. So, and I don't call it a cheat because a lot of people say, well, I'm going to have a cheat meal. And what happens is that cheat meal turns into a cheat day, which turns into a cheat week, which turns into a cheat month. And you realize that at the end of a year, you're right back where you were when you started the year. And you thought you were going to make progress, but we can't cheat. We have to stay consistent. So use the other C. Instead of cheating, be consistent. Be consistent. It's really going to help. Why is it important? Because excess sugar is linked to a 30% increase risk of obesity. 30% more greater chance that we can end up bigger than we need to be. 40% increase in type 2 diabetes, which we know is plaguing especially the communities of color. 20% increase in the risk of heart disease. And so it's really time to break free of this. I mean, I know in my family, we lost my father due to heart disease, and I would prefer to have kept the relatives in our family that died before their time. Because a lot of people say, well, shoot, I'm going to die from something. I'm going to die from something. I might as well go out happy. But my question to you is, why die before your time? Hmm? I mean, why die before your time? Why deprave your relatives who love you dearly and whose lives you have wisdom to pour back into, and you have not gotten to that point, or they have not gotten to that point in life where they need that advice, that you are the only one who can pour that into them. Don't take that away from them. Don't die before your time. And so there's a quote that says, sugar may be sweet, but its consequences to your health are not. Sugar may be sweet, but the consequences are not. Okay, very good. Let me check the chat here before we go to number 2. We're talking about 3 foods that may be blocking your wellness. 3 foods may be blocking. And we don't want to block our wellness. We want to be well. You see that? I love my mug. Well is where we want to be and where we want to stay at all times. Okay, number 2. The second food that is blocking our wellness. Pam says yes. Why go out before you have to? Thank you, Pam. Very good point. So the second food, well, I guess this is kind of like a food group, I guess you would say, because it's actually not really a food. It's actually something they put on the food or cook the food in. So we're talking about trans fats, sneaky trans fats. And here's the thing. In other countries, especially in European Union and some Asian, Indian countries, they will not accept the food from the United States, and they will not accept trans fats into their foods. I mean, if any of you have gone on vacation to another country and realize the difference in the food, I mean, list the country. I know I've had friends who've gone to Italy and they've been able to eat the bread and the pasta, and they didn't have the same gastrointestinal issues that they have here in the States. And I've gone to different countries, Singapore, Philippines, Central and South America, and I've been able to eat, the rice, and it did not like bloat me. I did not have the same feelings, or I've been able to even eat the junk food, sometimes the chips, and not have the adverse reactions. And so trans fat is really a villain. And in the United States, they've finally gotten around to outlawing trans fats. However, okay, here's the trick. This is how they gotten around it. So we know we have lobbyists that are really, really strong and powerful in Washington. And so basically they influence the lawmakers. That's how I say that. And so we've outlawed trans fats. However, you can still have trans fats in food if the percentage is low enough per item. So let's say you have a cookie, and that cookie only has 0.5 milligrams of trans fats in it. You don't have to report it or put that on the back of the label as an ingredient because it is below the threshold. So even though we're we have outlawed and said we're not supposed to have it, if you're below a certain threshold, then it's fine not to list it. Okay. However, most people, if you remember the old Lay's commercial, uh, I bet you can't eat just one. Most of us, when we buy a box of packaged foods, whether it's a fried food or a packaged snack or whatever, we get some French fries. We ain't eating just one. At least I know I'm not. Maybe it's just me. If I'm buying a box of cookies, I'm not just eating one. Okay. And usually we finish the box or you finish the package or the fried food or whatever it is. So we have the accumulated results of the trans fat is in our body and it's harming our body. So trans fats are found in fried foods and packaged snacks, and they might be silently harming your heart. We only have one heart. I mean, some of us can, deal without a kidney or gallbladder or a lung, a spleen, many different things that we can do without. But we got to have a heart, and it helps us to have a healthy heart. So make sure, one, that you are turning over the packages and reading to see if trans fat is listed. Definitely put that back on the shelf, and also recognize that many foods that are fried foods and packaged snacks that are silently harming our heart. So what are the healthier options? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Choose foods that are heart healthy. And so these are foods that are plant based and foods that are as close as possible to their natural form. So that might be almonds or walnuts. And in the kitchen, instead of using margarine or lard or anything like that, you want to use a dollop of avocado or guacamole on your toast. I love avocado toast. I tell you, any restaurant, any cafe that's serving avocado toast, I'm going to be there. Well, not now, but when I'm in the city, because right now I live out in the country, and there are no uh, chains or anything like that around here. But your heart will thank you when you make the change. Switch out vegetable oil and let's see, what is the peanut oil or soybean oil. Switch that out for avocado oil or olive oil. Avocado or olive oil. Avocado oil is a high heat oil. You can use that for frying or sautéing, or if that is one of your cooking methods, and you can use olive oil for other types of for dressing or for low heat or no heat dishes. So those are some options for you there. Why is there, or what is the health risk for trans fats? Let me go back here because let's see. Pam is asking the question. Okay, well, she's asking the question. What can you use besides the vegetable oils because they're the cheapest? Well, that is such a good question. They're the cheapest. Why are they the cheapest? They're the cheapest because, well, one, we don't want to be what I call cheap, fast, and easy. Okay, if you're labeled cheap, fast, and easy, that is not a positive thing. If the food is cheap, fast, and easy, that may not be a positive thing either. Just because something is less expensive does not mean that it is the best option for you. All right. So yeah, and so I'm glad you asked that question because that's exactly where I'm going. The trans fats gave you the options. So now we're going to give you the health risks. The health risk associated with those trans fats, they increase your bad cholesterol levels. People have bad cholesterol. They're like, I'm not eating a lot of meat. No, I'm not doing it. Things like that. But you may be eating the packaged food, which may be keeping your bad cholesterol levels high. And it also, the trans fats, they lower the good cholesterol. So we want to increase the good cholesterol, not lower it. And that increases our risk of heart disease. Okay. So did you know that eliminating the trans fats could prevent around 250,000 deaths from cardiovascular disease globally per year? Okay, and globally, because I found this out when I was traveling, the number one reason that people are hospitalized is because of cardiovascular issues. That is all across the world. In a lot of countries, they have started following the Western diet. And so, whereas they didn't have problems with cardiovascular issues before, now they do. Whereas they previously didn't have problems with diabetes, now they do. So it's time to really kick the trans fats to the curb. And so I have another quote for you. This is from Dr. Walter Willett. He's a professor of epidemiology and nutrition. And he says, trans fats are the tobacco of nutrition. You remember at one point, tobacco was all the rage and they did it all TV and clubs and hospitals and offices. And now no more. So get ahead of that curb and curb this saboteur. So, okay. So we got three foods. The third food that can be blocking your wellness is refined carbs. Refined carbs. And I'm going to shed a little bit of light on this issue because when we talk about refined carbs, they're kind of like the sneaky saboteurs. They are the white breads, the pastries, the ones that look so pretty. They look so pretty and so inviting. And but what's happening is they're messing with your energy levels and they pack on unwanted pounds. Unwanted pounds. So there are alternatives to the refined carbs, and I know in my family, people say, I'm bread. I got to have some bread. I have some bread with every meal. Well, we also have the health risk associated with these refined carbs. But the alternatives are to say goodbye to the white bread. Say goodbye to the white bread. I mean, I used to love me some white bread, but I ended up loving my health reports better after I stopped with the white bread. So therefore, not I am not tempted to go back there. And it's a process. It's a process. So say hello to the whole grains. You got to find you a loaf that is whole grains and then look for the ones that are actually whole grains on the back and not just on the front where the marketing labels are. So opt for the whole grain bread. Opt for quinoa. Matter of fact, I got quinoa waiting for me upstairs now that I'm going to have for my dinner. So quinoa salads, brown rice bowls, uh, oatmeal or oats for breakfast until your energy, that's going to keep your energy levels up. Because a lot of times we'll eat the refined carbs, our energy levels will get low, and then we'll think, oh, I need some sweets to kind of pick me up, or I need some caffeine to kind of pick me up. But if we didn't start with the refined carbs, we would have stable energy throughout the day. So, what are the health risks associated with the refined carbs? Glad you asked there. So, consuming too many refined carbs is associated with weight gain. Obesity is a precursor for just about every disease that's out there. So, not saying that if you're not obese that you can't have a disease or you can't be sick, and not saying that if you're not obese then you're automatically healthy. Let's dispel that myth right here, okay? But obesity does increase your risk of disease. And it also increases blood sugar spikes and increases the risk for type 2 diabetes. So, did you know that a diet high in refined carbs increases the type 2 diabetes by 40%? I mean, we don't want to increase our risk. We don't want to do that. So, it's time to fuel our bodies with whole foods and nutritious grains. All right. And I got another quote for you. Yep. They keep coming. Say your diet is a bank account. Good food choices are good investments. And that's Bethany Frankel. Good food choices are good investments. So I don't know about you, but I definitely want to invest in myself. And so let's see, what do we have here? Great people are saying thank you for the alternatives. Thank you for the stats, okay? Statistics. And so yeah, you're welcome. Most definitely. I want to be able to empower people and help them move from problems to progress with plant-based solutions. I was able to do it. I tried, failed a couple of times, but I finally got it right. And being able to travel around the globe and learn from gurus and practitioners with the alternatives and the options for how to help our bodies heal themselves. It's been an absolute opportunity, and it would be sinful for me to not offer this information. And so I put it on the bottom of the screen now. You see my email address, which is plantlife@plantbasedpennylife.com. You can email me for a free consultation if you just want to talk. Hey, Penny, what can I do to reach my goal, or listen to what my issues are and how can you help me? I'm happy to have a free chat with you along those lines. That is definitely something. You're welcome. Yes. Dolores says, thank you. You are quite welcome. I mean, this is a journey. This is a journey. So this is a marathon, not a sprint. We got this. We are warriors armed with the knowledge and alternatives. It's time to kick those culprits to the curb, and those being sugar, trans fat, and refined carbs. Those may be blocking your wellness journey. And now that you know the alternatives and now you know who to reach out to, you can share with me what it is, how we can support each other, and how I can support you in making the swaps. As I said, we got this. We got this. And this is Plant Based Penny. Oh, make sure that you are members of my Facebook group because I have a tea tasting coming up, not a wine tasting, but a tea tasting. At tea tasting, we'll talk about detox teas and other wellness teas. That's coming up. I have a detox group that'll be starting in January as well. I want to make sure that you're included in everything that I have going on because you're definitely worth it. This is Penny, also known as Plant Based Penny, and I help people move from problems to progress with plant based solutions. Thank you for joining me and have a blessed evening.